Hello. All right. Hello. Good evening. Good morning, depending on where you are. So let me set up a bit the sound. Here we go. So let me lower that and that. Cool. Let me know if the music is too loud for you about my voice. All right. Oh, what a tough day. I'm just hitting home like 5 minutes ago to launch the stream. Hope you're all doing well. It is 11 p.m. here. That will be a short stream, like 30-40 minutes. All right. And we will probably not code. We are going only to talk. And we are going to talk about Adonis and the Node.js ecosystem. All right. So everything started with the tweet I've done like few hours ago. It was this afternoon, Swiss time. Because I had a discussion this morning with someone and we were comparing Nest to Adonis. And after looking a bit about the documentation, I think there is a lot of confusion for beginners, newcomers to the ecosystem about what framework. And thanks, Faribish, for the follow. Thank you very much. There's a lot of confusion about what framework you should use, all right? And now there's even like those, like hybrid framework that works on the backend and on the front end, like Next, or SvelteKit now. And a lot of people are simply confused about what they should use for the application. And you cannot choose if you don't know the tooling of the ecosystem and what's specific to some tooling, all right? So yeah, this video will be a chit chat about Adonis.js, why you should use it, why you should not use it, what's different about Adonis from other JavaScript framework perspective. Maybe we can compare a bit all the Node.js ecosystem frameworks available for you, and obviously answer any question you may have in the chat. But I believe it's very important. And by the way, this video will be going on YouTube, all right? So you can still watch it later if you want to leave, or if you want to share it with someone else. But I believe it's very important to discuss about that, because there is some wording, that may there are some people writing stuff that is for me wrong, and that is a lot. It's just wrong, and people use the wrong tool, in my opinion. So, but that's my opinion, and we will talk about that today. Because I'm kind of like, I'm just bored about that, because every day, you see the same stuff, the same people asking the same question, and the community is not doing well, in my opinion. Like every day there's like 10 or 12 new articles about how to use Express with MongoDB. And I tried, and a lot of people try to stop that from happening. Like, you should stop using Express. Express is not a good framework. It's not even a framework, but it's not about that. It's about that it may kill your application without you noticing it. But people still keep recommending it, and newcomers to the ecosystem, when they look at what framework they should use, they found those like top 10 Node.js framework you should use or you should look in 2021. And this is messed up, in my opinion, right? So yeah, if you have any question, feel free to chat. I will answer them, but we're going to to look at the documentation and website of Adonis and other framework. All right. And what I will try to achieve is if I'm going to the Vue.js website, I believe they have something like comparison. Let me check. Blog comparison. Here we go. So they have a page like that, all right, that they compare themselves to other framework that helps you to choose between Vue.js or React or maybe Angular on this page. I don't know. Skill, blah blah blah, or native. That's something else. Yeah, Angular 1, Angular 2, Ember, Knockout, Polymer, Riot, etc. Right. So I believe this page is kind of important, but I also believe that it's not someone from the core team that should write that, because it will be biased. All right. I believe community should share more information about that and share what they think it's different, and comment about that. All right. So if we do the same for Adonis, it will look like that. First, let me open the window because it's quite hot here, and we'll start. All right. All right. So Adonis.js is, in my opinion, the only fully featured integrated system framework for Adonis. All right, for the Node.js ecosystem, meaning it is the only framework that has everything you need baked in. All right, you don't need to install third-party modules. Everything is first-class supported. It will be all inside official modules, all right? It doesn't mean that it's bloated, all right? It doesn't mean that when you install Adonis, you got everything. Okay, you got the slim package, so it's like only the core, like only core feature. But if you need anything else, like access to a database or a Vue engine, we got you back, meaning that we have official first-class package that support that, all right? And as far as I know, that's the only Node.js framework that have that, all right? A lot of people compare Adonis to Nest. So we are going to look at that documentation, all right? So if we're going to the Nest documentation, we can see there's a cat, all right? Good marketing here. But let's look at the documentation directly. And I believe, yeah, that's big enough. All right. So Nest is not a bad framework. All right. It's not a bad framework. But here on the left, there's a techniques menu, and if I open it, you can see there's a lot of things that Adonis has a feature, like database, validation, caching, serialization, versioning, queuing, etc., etc. Right. The thing is that for beginners, like if you're going to this page and you're looking at how to parse a cookie or how to do file upload, right? Well, you will simply look at the doc, maybe search file upload here, and you will click on the link, all right? And you will believe that Nest.js support file upload. Well, in fact, it's supported, but it's not baked in. You need to install a third-party package and set it up inside the application to use it, all right? This is not baked in at all right? So if you took this example here for file upload, it tells you to install Multer, which is a Express middleware, all right? So Nest is based on Express, which is not good in my opinion, but there is a way to use Fastify instead, so that's all good. This documentation hasn't been updated for Fastify, but let's just go through. So yeah, you install the type, you install Multer, and then it tells you to use few things here, all right? Multi-module, you need to register, blah, 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 blah. And the same for everything, like session, Express session, boom. You set it up like it was an Express application. Same thing with cookies, all right? You install the Express things for cookies, and then boom, you set it up as a middleware for your application. And it's the same for nearly all feature here. If we go to, I've checked rendering, there's something like view templates rendering, is that it? Yeah, so it's use handlebar, all right? And what you need to do is to install handlebar and use it, all right? So this is good because it lets you use whatever you want to use, all right? And it's bad in some way because every Nest application can be different, right? If you hire someone that is a Nest developer, well, he may have never used like 30% of the library you're using in your project, right? And this is what it. This is not an integrated system, all right? For me, Nest is like an Express Fastify, like with a good structure, good architecture by default with an IOC and good things in the core. But then you start to, doing your shopping in the Node.js repository, which is in PM. You're doing some shopping about what you need. Like, oh, I need a view engine. Then let me choose what I want. Maybe this one. Oh no, I don't like this one. Maybe this one. Maybe this one. And you start to have this decision fatigue, going on in the JavaScript ecosystem because you have like hundreds and thousands of modules that can fit your need, and you don't know what to choose. And then you choose one, and then it's not updated, so you need to change. You need to blah 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 blah. And it starts to become a mess, all right? So that's Nest.js. So if we take in comparison Adonis and go to the documentation here, and we take the same example like session, you can see that you install a package which is inside the Adonis.js scope, right? Meaning it is an official package from the Adonis.js team, meaning everything is integrated. So I'm using this term quite often, and we use in our website quite often. So this term comes from, I believe, the Rails world. Integrated system means everything know each other, all right? It means our validation system know that, well, let's say differently, our database modules, all right? It's not installed by default, but our database modules know that you are going maybe to use our validation engine, all right? Why? Because it's both of them are first class supported by Adonis. They are first class packages, all right, from the core team. So since the database module know that you may use our validation engine, when you install our database module, it's going to inject some rules inside the validation engine, like exists, that will check if something exists inside your database, or like unique, that will check that something is unique inside your database, etc., right? So that's an integrated system. Everything know each other. The database module that know that it's an Adonis application, and it knows that Adonis has ACE, which is the command line tool. So it's also going to register some commands inside ACE. Okay, everything is integrated. But it doesn't mean that you cannot extend it. It doesn't mean that you can use something else, all right? So if we can have a look to the validation here, validator. So this is baked in. You don't need to install anything, all right? But if you want to use something else, like class validator, which is, I believe, one of the most used one in the Node.js ecosystem, you can, absolutely. You install it and you use it like you will use it in any application, all right? So it's not like putting you into jail. If you use Adonis, you can still use whatever you want. You can even change the rendering engine. You can use another ORM. You can use another validation engine. You can use whatever you want, all right? The thing is, not by default, but the Adonis core team help you to build a fast, help you to be fast and quickly an application. That's the goal of Adonis, right? So it's for startups, SaaS projects, even bigger project. It's for everyone. Even if you have a small application, you can use Adonis, right? So That's the main difference because between those two. So I'm taking those two, Nest and Adonis, because that's the one that is the most talked about fully featured framework. But there's others. So if you have a look at Fastify, all right. So fastify.com, I believe that's Express. Let's have a look like that. And there's Koa and Happy and all of that. So it's not that. Fastify GS here. And have a look here. All right. So those are what I told. Wait a minute. I need to do something here. All right. Those are what I like to call a small scope framework. All right. So they are basically a router, all right, that you can extend with middlewares. And there is some ecosystem, at least for Fastify, with a lot of packages from the core team, which is good. Well, I believe it's from the core team since it's inside the Fastify repository organization on GitHub, right? So you can extend it whatever you want, but you're still free, like completely free, to use to architect your application however you want. All right. So that's the what's not good about small scope framework like Express, Fastify, Koa, or Happy is that you have a lot of possibility. If you take a look at Koa, there's like I believe 3 or 4 router that you can use. There's one for the core team, then there's another one which is called router 2, which is faster, then there's another one, and you have again this decision fatigue, you know, like again and again and again and again, and that doesn't help you to build your application. And thank you K numbers for the follow. Thank you very much. And that's something I believe which is bad if you want to start a project like a real one, like like a startup, like a SaaS application, because when you want to hire someone, again, same thing, you will simply not found someone that knows your stack. Like you can go from one Fastify project to another, and the only same thing between those two projects is that they use Fastify, but then the ORM is completely different, the validation engine is completely different, and everything is different. So you take like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months before the new employee is efficient inside your project, because he doesn't know your stack at all. He doesn't know your architecture, which is custom at all. And at the end, you start creating your homemade framework, which is not documented, because who documents their codes, you know? And that starts to become a mess. So I will just read the chat because someone says something, and I will read it loudly for you, YouTube, since you don't have the chat. So it's Faribish. He say, "Hi, Romain. I think you raised some very valid points. The word framework tends to be used for various different things. That is easy for people to end up comparing apples with orange. Especially since in this many surface level blog posts you see everywhere that compares framework that don't even belong in the same level of analysis. I think the Adonis homepage does an excellent job summing up what you've said here, because it's the pain point you are likely to experience without Adonis." Quote from the homepage of Adonis. Adonis.js includes everything you need to create a fully functional web app or API server. Stop wasting hours in downloading and assembling hundreds of packages together. Use Adonis and be productive from day one. Thank you, Faribish, for your comments. And yeah, that's exactly it. The issue I see in the JavaScript, not Node, but JavaScript ecosystem, is that we like a lot small packages, right? We like a lot. Like, I'm not even joking. If you look at the NPM repository, there is a package called isEven, all right? It's downloaded 176,000 times per week, all right? What this package is doing? Well, it's simply telling you if the number you're giving it to is odd or even. And you know what? Guess what? There's one called isOde that's doing the inverse. And I believe isOde is installing isEven and doing the inverse. You know, like if I look at the code, no, it's using isNumber, which is again, and what the fuck is this organization name? I voted for Trump. Like, what the fuck? So, and this package is used. Look how much. It's used 500,000 times per week. Well, downloaded, not maybe used, but like, come on. We love small package that is doing one thing. Even if it's like one line of code, like I believe maybe it's isEven then that is using isOde. So let me check. Well, same organization. Yeah, this one is requiring isOde, all right, and returning the inverse. Like, yeah, I love that. And there's like, this was useful like 10 years ago when it was difficult, when, you know, it was maybe different between JavaScript and Node, but now it's simply useless. And this is still downloaded like a lot, and we love doing that. And then this transferred to the Node ecosystem. So people created Locomotive, I believe that was called Locomotive, and Express. So that was two backend framework, and it was great. It was good because it was easy to create an API or an application, and then you can do your shopping again. Like, I want to use this view rendering, or I want to use this ORM seems good, like Sequelize. I love that. And you're doing your shopping. It was working good like 10 years ago again. But today, you know, with Ruby on Rails, with Django, with Laravel, those ecosystems are so much better than the Node.js ecosystem. I don't know why, but I feel so much behind them. Like, have you ever used Laravel, or have you ever used Ruby on Rails? Those are awesome to use. You can start, you can build your SaaS application in 1 week. It's crazy. I mean, a lot of people, when I ask them, why are you still using Express? They are telling me like, oh yeah, because it takes months to build the application. And if we want to migrate now, you know, in 2 weeks, we should have a new release. We cannot do that. It's taking too much time. And I'm like, come on, dude. Maybe like 80% of the code of your application is gluing the modules you choose together, you know, and fixing bugs because you don't know how to glue modules. Then you create memory leaks, then you create bugs, etc., etc. Whereas, like, when you use something like Rails, Laravel, or Django, and now Adonis for Node, you just like, you know, flip the fingers and it's ready. It works. But people still don't understand the plus-value, the you know, like the benefits you get from this type of architecture. They believe they are in jail, you know, like they believe, oh fuck, mate, I have an app folder, I cannot create my source folder, I need to put everything inside my app folder, I need to use that. I've used Prisma with Adonis, it works great. I've used GraphQL with Adonis, it works awesome, you know. You're not locked inside what we offer. If you want to use something else, you can. Reading the chat. Fixable said, hey, I never understood why they did a package to do that instead of using modules. Yeah. Well, maybe the package is doing a modules. I haven't checked, but I mean, like, yeah, the people tends to search first on Google if there is a package to do something which takes 1 line or 2 lines of code. That's crazy. It's not even like difficult things. So yeah. Steph is telling us Node.js ecosystem is so big that I don't understand why only the Adonis come battery included. Having well-done frameworks is a must-have to have a better and homogeneous ecosystem. Yeah, exactly. Because if we get back off what I say, if we go back a bit, a lot of people tends to work alone. And when you start to work with a team, you are so happy to have like an architecture that everyone respects and to have a common source, like a common code that you can use between all of your projects. Have maybe 10 or 15 projects running with Adonis, and I can jump from one to the other easily. 2 weeks ago, I've opened a project that was 5 years old. 5 years old. I was using Tailwind version 0.1. All right, first version of Tailwind using it. I was using V2, and I was using Adonis. I believe it was the alpha version of Adonis 4. Okay, the previous one. It was not maybe 5 years. I don't recall, but it was like pretty old. And it was just a joy to work with, you know, like I can jump from a project from today to a very old project because it's the same architecture, it's the same code. I know everything, all right? And it's not because I'm from the core team that I know the framework better than you, all right? I'm not. Haman Verk is the guy who coded the framework, all right? I'm most useful for public relationship, you know, like tweeting, helping people with issues. But he's the guy writing the code, all right? I have not done a lot in terms of code base for Adonis. So I'm like you, but I have Rails and Laravel backgrounds, and a lot of people starting in the Node.js ecosystem. I used to use React, Vue, etc., etc. So that's another point. Another issues is about framework that are doing both, all right? So, but let me read the chat first. They are basically lazy. I don't know when you've wrote that, but I would say yes. Want to become famous? Buy followers and viewer on Bigflow. All right. Thank you very much. Bye. All right. So the other issue that's come with beginners. All right. So first, let's search Node.js framework. All right. Let's search that. Google search. And we are simply going to open first one. All right. So it's like a top X. Then there's the Node.js website that doesn't help at all. Then there's Express. Why not? Then I see that there is one from 2019. All right, so let's put the dates. Like maybe the date will help. All right, and let's open then again those one. All right. So first one, 12 best Node.js framework for web app. Right. Well, why not? So let's open it. Blah 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 MVC blah 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 blah. All right. First one, Express. Forget about Express. You should never use it. All right. Express doesn't know how to handle async function, meaning from 2015, you have memory leaks if using async await and may crash now since Node simply shut down your application when you have an unhandled promise exception, all right? So forget about Express, all right? Then there's Koa. All right, Koa is the same thing as Express, Fastify, and Happy. So it's like a low scope framework. So you can use it, but then you will spend a lot of time to search for packages. All right, Meteor.js, we don't talk about that. Socket.io is not even a framework. It's a library to have WebSockets. So I'll let you build an application with Socket.io. Good luck. Next, we talk about that. Sales is, I don't know if it's dead, not. I don't recall. It was dead before. Maybe it's not dead anymore. I don't know a lot about sales. Total, or what the fuck is that? Total real-time tracking. What the fuck? Since when this is like a framework feature? Real-time tracking. Okay. Auto Discover project. No, this is something else, right? No, what the fuck is that? API testing, real-time tracking. What? Okay. I'm not like commenting on all framework. I'm also commenting on the content of the article, right? So, and then there's Adonis, all right? The dependable framework. What the fuck? Adonis, pattern replicate Laravel, all right? Out of box support for WebSocket, development speed. Okay, it must not be updated, because we don't have out-of-the-box support for WebSocket with V5 yet. Blah 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 blah. When to use Adonis for the first. All right, so this is correct. Derby, the racer engine, right? Okay, whatever. So 12 framework, but at least good point for Symform. There is only backend framework here. Well, no, there is Socket.io, right? But there is only backend framework. All right, so that's a very good point for them. Okay, well, this is Express. Okay, what about this thing which is plain English.io? Like, come on, what the fuck? Yeah, blah blah blah. Okay, happy. So first we start with GitHub stars, forks. What the fuck? All right, so happy, Express, Nest. This is good for the moment. Koa, all right. So same again, all the same. Socket.io. Like it's exactly the same from the other article. Socket.io is not even a framework to build application. Meteor.js, all right, same again. Adonis, all right, good. Sales, we have going to see total. No, that's it. Okay, at least it is backend framework, so good point for them. First one, Express. Again, you should forget about Express, but whatever. Meteor, all right. Nest, all right. Strappy, what the fuck? This is a headless CMS. It's not a framework. Well, it can be used to develop, all right, but it's not like what I'm like to call a framework, all right? It doesn't help you to code your application. Koa, and that's it, all right? So all of those are like clickbait. They're all clickbait, and then a newcomer is coming here. Well, he will be like, what the fuck should I choose? What the fuck should I choose? See? So for YouTube, the Faribish is saying, this is crying out for an infographic of all the layers of a typical web stack showing front and back end components. Clearly, Express and Koa will only show up in a small part of the stack, whereas Adonis will be all over it. Agreed, but not about the front-end part. Adonis is still a back-end framework. I'm trying to see an example, but I don't seem to find one. Because there is some, all those, like top X framework you should use, blah, 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 clickbait title, where they compare Next with Nest, Adonis, and Express. And there's even article with people comparing React to Express. And I'm like, what the fuck, mate? There's a lot of misconception about where your stuff is running, all right? Front-end framework run on the front-end. Back-end framework run on the server, on the back-end, all right? It never run on the client. The server is doing its stuff, then it sends back HTML, and that's it. Then you may have like a front-end library like Alpine or jQuery or React or Vue that takes over, but it's still rendered by the server, by your stack, which is running on the server, right? And now there's like those hybrid thing with universal rendering like Next and Svalkit and Next, which is doing a bit both, meaning like first hit to your application will be rendered on the server will render HTML, and then it's reiterate again on the client, and you have like a full single page application JavaScript, all right? So it's like that, that's how it worked. But those like to compare themselves with framework like Express, Koa, or Adonis, or I don't know, Nest, all right? And I'm like, what? Like, if we have a look at like Redwood, all right? Redwood, and it's like Blitz. So those are commonly called the Rails of JavaScript. So let's have a look. So Redwood, okay, what it is? Docs. All right, so let's have a look at file uploads. I love looking at file uploads because that's something that you need to have code and security to handle that correctly. So where is file uploads? Do they even have file uploads? All right, so that's React code. Okay, you can use it as your rendering engine. Even on Adonis, you can use React if you want to render your view instead of using Edge, you can use React, and then it will server-side render your React code and send it to the client, all right? And then it's up to you if you want to reiterate or not, but it's up to you. Again, so I don't Fireploy, maybe cookbooks. Okay, cookbooks, all right. And they're using services. Nice, nice, they're using services. This is not what we want. All right, let's see how we can access maybe authentication. All right, they're using services. Nice, you have nothing baked in, only services, cool. Maybe we have a database, data migration, GraphQL, Postgres header, all right. Okay, we install Postgres, blah, blah, blah. Prisma, okay, they're using Prisma, which is a good ORM, all right. Good. Redwood, Prisma, they seems to have a CLI, which is good. And that's it. Okay. And then you use Prisma, I believe. So yeah, you're going to Prisma. So at least good things. We can have Prisma running with this technology. Let's have a look at Blitz. That's not that. Blitz.js. Here we go. That's it. So Blitz. .db, db project create. Okay, let's have a look at maybe file uploads again. Where's file uploads? Oath. Okay, how are they handling Oath? Okay, Prisma again. Okay. Third-party provider. But how does this work? Super tokens library. Okay. What's that? Build for startup. Is it like a third party thing? What is that? Oh gosh. All right, I'm not looking at it. Do they have like? Okay, well we see they are using Prisma. Okay. Where is file uploads? Is there a search? File uploads. Uploads. They don't have file uploads. All right. So no, it doesn't work. Let's have a look at next. Next, all right. Which is good framework. Those are good text, all right. I'm not saying it is bad text, all right. I'm saying that it's different. It's not the same thing. I've tweeted about that also a few days ago. So again, do they have something about database? No. Why? Because they cannot handle it, all right? Well, they can, but it will be bare bone like you are an Express handler, all right? You're querying directly your database. It's not made for that. I have a lot of websites with Next on the backend, on the front end, and Adonis on the backend. You still need a full system for your backend, okay? You cannot, well, you can, but it's not recommended to use Next or Next directly, well, for doing everything, all right? Reading the chat, Steph, we say the guy who make those best of article may be high all the day. I mostly believe, you know, that a lot of those articles are one clickbait, so it's easy to write. And secondly, that a lot of those articles are paid, meaning LogRocket pay people to write article for them, all right? And I don't know if they check the content of the article. I believe, like for LogRocket, you need to talk a bit about LogRocket inside the article, and then you can like write a simple top 10 framework that you can use with LogRocket, blah blah blah, and then you're just putting like, you know, like pooing the contents like that, and it's easy to write. So I believe that's the issue. Edge. Coming from the Faribish say Edge, I believe it was accordingly of what I'm saying that Adonis is not for the front end. Thank you, Lemes, for the follow. And he said, or she said, coming from the Drupal world, it clearly generates HTML on the backend, but we're considering this front end too. Okay. I see Adonis in the same way. It might not be comparable to React, Vue, Svelte, but I would consider Adonis as being able to handle traditional front-end aspect. I agree with you but I believe the issue is more about how the how the JavaScript community think about that. Because I agree with you that I will call Adonis a full stack framework, okay? Meaning that it is handling the backend and the front end, because you can render HTML, and then you can have only Adonis and you have a full website. Don't need anything else, right? Maybe CSS to have a bit like of styling, but that's it. But the issue with the JavaScript ecosystem, well, community, is for them, when you're talking about front end, you're talking about JavaScript front end, right? Arminder, right, the leading developer of Adonis, created a good application to demonstrate that, which is a poll application. I believe there's a link here. Here we go. So this is the polls app. Okay, there's an example here. And he created that to show people that you don't need to have like a fully a big front-end framework, or even Vue, React, Svelte, whatever, to build your application. You can do server-side rendering and use Alpine or something like that, and it works well and it's fast. You can see it's fast. I mean, you don't need anything else, and this is fully rendered, so you have the source code available. And if we have a look at the what's for the front end, there is only this file, which is 39 lines long, which is using Alpine, all right? So yeah, you can build a full application using only Adonis. But the JavaScript ecosystem, again, believe they have to use something like React, Vue, Svelte, whatever, to build the application. They believe that because when you search for articles, you simply found a lot of bad content. Okay, if we have a look at where to start in the JavaScript ecosystem, they will first learn how to do Vue, React, or whatever. Why? Because JavaScript is commonly used on the browser. It's not commonly used on the server. It is now with Node, but back then, and even now, people, when they think about JavaScript, they think about the JavaScript you write on your browser. So that's a big issue, on my opinion, and that's a big misconception that people have when they think they need, well, when they want to build something with JavaScript. I don't know if I'm clear, because it's late first, but also because I'm maybe like mixing my words. But it's totally doable, like you're doing in Django, like you're doing in Rails, like you're doing with Laravel, to build a full application without anything else that the framework you start to use, right? Whew. Whoa. So yeah, I don't know if you have any question on the chat, because I'm mostly done. I believe I've talked a lot without saying anything important. Like, I believe I only scratched the surface, you know. But that's something we need to think about. And to help the community, I believe we should write better article. We should write, like meaningful article that helps newcomers. Because when you are inside this ecosystem like I am, I know what I need. But a lot of people simply don't know what they need. They are mixing those frameworks, like they think React can be compared to Express. They think that Express is the best framework and they should use MongoDB to build their application, because when you search about how to build a Node.js application, you found about the MERN stack or the mean stack, and you're like, oh my god, I like that mean, yeah, I'm going to use MongoDB, Express, yeah, Angular, yeah, go, like I'm someone, I'm using the mean stack. Oh no, mate, you're shit. You should do the MERN stack or the and you're like, yeah, mate, this is only marketing. Like you want to be part of the group because you're using the mean stack, the whatever stack. and they are lost. They are lost and they don't know what to do. And it's sad because on my tweet deck here, I have a column, you know, with any people talking about Express or Node framework, and I see a lot of people here. I've heard good things. Let me zoom a bit. All right, so Coding Leon say, I've heard good things about React, Vue, and Express. Like those are not related. I need to explore which one I want to learn. Good. Okay, well, we should forget about the Express, but everyone know about that. This one, I'm working on ManStack. What the fuck is that? MongoDB, Express, and Node. All right, that's the worst stack ever. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. That's me. Okay, people using the Express stack for shitty stuff. All right, roadmap to become a web developer. Those also the same thing as the worst article you can find, you know, like someone tweeting like a top X or top things you should learn or blah, 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 blah. Here you go, new guy coming to the Node. Create your first server using Node and Express. Yeah, cool. How to use environment variable in Express. You mean stack. Yeah. And there's like that every day. Every day there's people like, oh, I'm starting to learn Node.js. I've taken a look at Express. It's fabulous. And I'm like, hey, mate, you should look at something else. It will be even more fabulous. It will be the paradise. So Farabish say, more generally for this conversation, who are we trying to convince? Is it about boosting adoption or dispel myth or both? If so, we know that us devs can carry a lot of weight in terms of choosing tech stacks, but often this needs to be signed off by team leads, managers, etc. With that in mind, I will have thought that a comparison to Laravel, Drupal, Rails, etc. would be more useful. So much to cover here. You've done an excellent job highlighting these issues. Thank you. I believe we are trying both. In fact, the issue I see a lot is that I'm trying a lot to, you know, like evangelize Adonis, you know, and to help people to understand that it is different from other stack and they may like it, okay? But my reach in terms of audience is people already using Adonis. So this, wait a minute. I'm just sending an SMS. My wife is going to bed. All right. So the thing is, and it's a big issue in my opinion, is that people, you know, following Adonis Twitter or following my Twitter are mostly people related already to Adonis. So I can write whatever I want. People already agree with me, and I cannot like reach other people. That's the big issue, you know. I cannot reach people that I want to reach, and I don't want to pay for that, because you can pay Twitter to help you reach broader people, you know. But that's not my goal. I want to spend money for that. I want to help people. In fact, I don't want like to spread like a religion, you know, like, oh, you should have Adonis. It may seems like that, but I just want to help people doing the right choice and not choosing something that will explode in their hand. But my audience is people already related to Adonis, so I'm happy to have like 30 likes, 50 likes, 100 likes, because people agree with me, because they follow me for that reason, and that's an issue. And that's something I wish influencer, you know, like there is not a lot of influencer in the Node.js ecosystem, but in the JavaScript ecosystem, there is a lot of influencer. There is a lot of good podcasts like Syntax FM, like the Changelog, like the bike sharing, and there's a lot of people talking about that. But they are like the article, you know, like they are spreading maybe wrong information about the Node.js ecosystem, and the Node.js team, the core team, doesn't help at all, because we don't have to. But in the meanwhile, you know, it's their ecosystem. And that's sad, because when you want to reach other people, you cannot. And this is why I was telling in the beginning that it's not the core team roles, you know, to write article and say stuff on Twitter. because people that will see that already know that and already follow them for that, you know. And that's sad for me. Pressing, yeah, use Adonis. No, I'm like, I'm bored of doing that, because I believe I'm like the monster, you know, like I will not like see like every people talking about Express and say, oh, you should take a look at Adonis, oh, you should do that, how you should that, how you should. And when I'm doing that is when people say, oh man, I wish Express was different, or I wish there's something like Laravel in Node. And here I'm answering, yeah, you should have a look at Adonis, maybe it's what you're looking for. And those people are happy after that. And that's the only way I can reach all the people. But if everyone from the community, you know, start to spread good information, and when I say good information, it's not about use Adonis. No, it's about informing people about the difference. Because people may like to use Fastify. They may know all the risk and still use it. It's fine. But they need to be aware of the tooling they're using and of all the tooling that exists in the ecosystem, right? This takes time, especially in the Node.js ecosystem. I don't know, mate. I believe we are so behind. We are not. We are old. You know, like Adonis. Adonis Node is old. Maybe it's not older than other stuff, but like Adonis is from 2015, 6 years ago. 6 years ago, and a lot of people don't know about it. Because people talk, because it's like, you know, when, I don't know how to say it in English, you know, but when you want to say a word, you have it in your mind, or you think you have it in your mind, but it doesn't go through, you know, like you cannot remember, right? It's like, it's called having a blanc in French. And I read that this is because your brain spam with a lot of word, and it is like an overflow of your brain, right? This is why you cannot remember, and you have like the word, you know, at the end of your tongue. We say that in French, because you have an overflow in your brain. And I believe in the Node.js ecosystem we have an overflow of bad articles, and they are spamming, and there's like one good article for 20 bad articles. Yeah, tweet about Express. You will be on my on the screen. And then so the issue is we are spammed with bad content, and people write bad content. Why? Because there is bad content already here. People use Express because people use Express. People use Express because Express is taught everywhere. The issue is about the quantity, not about the quality. When you search for something and you have 100 articles talking about the same thing, you as beginners, as newcomers, believe it's good, even if it's not. So that's an issue, I believe, too. A lot of people think Next is a backend framework. Yeah, exactly, because they are confused. Because yeah, you can access a database from Next. You can install the Postgres driver, and from your get server side props, well, something like that, you can call your database and retrieve your data, and then generate it the HTML and then run the page. But you can maybe build a small website with that. But you cannot build a full application. Again, you need something else, something bigger, like Adonis or whatever backend framework you want to use. But something which has more feature. I mean, like for security, for file uploads, for database, for caching, for all this. So yeah. I need to write a case study on our website for our experience with Adonis and do our bits and share back. We need to cover not just to tech stuff, but also the reason for choosing Adonis and what benefits the client got. What benefits the client got as a result. Yeah, exactly. That's a good thing. Sharing a case study is a very good thing. We have someone from one of our sponsor, Cave. Sorry if I'm pronouncing wrong. Cave. All right. this guy is helping a lot on Discord, okay? And this guy has handling a massive bandwidth of people, like massive amount of user, massive bandwidth. He even told us that he tested, not related to his work, but he tested Adonis with 1 million requests per second. 1 million requests per second. That's more than what's doing Wikipedia in a day. That's crazy. And you're like, yeah, it can scale. It can scale easily. But people are focused on small stuff. Again, if you look at is even, is odd, is number, is stream, is request, is blah, 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 package from the NPM repository, and it is still used. Here, I got one. Still used a lot. People like low stuff. They like to have choice, but then we talk about JavaScript fatigue because they have too much choice. I'm like, come on. You cannot like to have choice and then being angry on Twitter, telling, oh man, I have too much choice. I'm fatigued. This is incredible. I don't know what to choose. There is like one new framework every day. Blah 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 blah. This is all lie. There is not one new framework every day. Frameworks on the backend ecosystem for Node is stable. Like when I'm telling people about Adonis, they're like, oh, again a new framework. Like, no mate, we are here for 7 years. It's not because it's not because you are aware of a framework that you never heard of it, but it is new. Like that's I don't know how to fix that. I believe quality content can help, but we should have someone with a big audience that talk about that. They are not, but they should. And we should have, I don't know how they have done it in PHP, Rails, or whatever world. I don't know how they have done that. It's crazy. Look at that. This is saying, okay, weekly download, nearly 1 million per month. Like 1 million per month. It's crazy. Thanks for taking the time this evening, Roman. I appreciate all your efforts. You're welcome. A bit like people buying Shiba when Luna. Yeah. Yeah, it's like people buying shitcoins on crypto money because they believe they will become millionaires. Because Elon Musk tweeted the pictures with a Shiba, so they believe Shiba will become the new crypto. Like no, do your own research. It's stupid. You will lose money. Maybe you will win money. Maybe it will works. But no, the probability is not in your side. Stop it. Stop it. And the thing is like people who success, like people who buy Shiba and become millionaires will be like, no, that's the best money, blah 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 blah, and people will follow them. They will not follow the other one who tells the inverse. They follow the herd. They follow the one that has a bigger voice. And it's the same with Express. Everything is talking about Express, so they follow. They simply follow. It's simpler for the mind. And that's an issue I have no idea how to fix. But yeah, that was a very good discussion. I went for a bit longer, 1 hour, right? But I believe we should do that more often, like a just chatting stream where we talk about the ecosystem. And maybe the next one will be a presentation, like a deep presentation of Adonis that will also be available on YouTube, so you can share it. But again, I believe everything I'm doing is like is not stupid, but it's useless, Because as I said, people who follow me already know about Adonis or already use Adonis. So what's the point of doing a presentation of the framework? This is my issue. I cannot reach further, and I believe it's useless. But at least it will be available on YouTube, and people may find it interesting if they come from like another ecosystem. And it's still good to see the truth. Lastly, I love to see like people using framework during live stream, like I'm doing sometimes, and especially when they are using Adonis, because I believe the best user experience you can create is when you see how someone is using your tool and how they believe something should work without looking at the documentation. We all know people don't look at the documentation, and there's a meme about that saying that you may have how it turns you may save 5 minutes. No, what I don't recall exactly, like how it was phrased, but it's like it's better to spend 6 hours debugging your code instead of spending 5 minutes to look at the documentation and found your issue and the solution. And it's exactly that. When I see people, like using Adonis, they're like, okay, scrolling, not what I want, scrolling, not what I want, scrolling, and they're only looking at code examples. They are not even using the search or like reading stuff. And I believe the best UX and DX in terms of framework, because it's developer experience, is when you see someone using a tool and they believe they should do something one way and it is the correct way. For me, it means you have a good DX. But I saw maybe 2 months ago someone using Adonis, and he compared it to Nest, and he said Adonis was the shittiest framework he ever used, and he will never use it again. And when someone is in this mind, like he's lost. He's destroying the framework. He got 200 viewers, so 200 people, like they will not say that what the guy understands saying is wrong, because they don't know the framework. But when they see someone raging against the framework, they will believe him that it is a bad framework. And as an example, he was looking at how to retrieve the body from the request. Okay. And he said, okay, let's go to routing to retrieve the body of the request. And then he scrolled, and he say, come on, they haven't even documented how to retrieve the body of your request. And he scrolled and he was, what a shitty framework. They have a lot of issue with their documentation. See, oh, maybe there's the body here. And he tried to put body, here instead of params, and say, no, it doesn't work. What a shitty framework. I cannot find the body. And I was like, what? Maybe if you want to retrieve the body of the request, you should go to the request page. Or maybe you can put body, oh, my keyboard just died, body inside the search and found the request body. Here we go. You have the request body. And I'm like, this is simple. Search, read. And no, the guy for 20 minutes rage against Adonis and the documentation, saying it's a shitty framework because he cannot find the body. And I'm like, how you want to help the ecosystem when you have people like that speaking in front of 200 people that believe him. I'm like, hey, what's the point to create good documentation? What's the point to write article? What's the point of doing live stream when there's people with a bigger reach saying shit and people trust them? Whew. So let me read the chat again. So Thermo say, hello, definitely not useless. I know Adonis, but I don't know a lot about Adonis itself. You just do a great job with that, and it's cool to share it. Thanks. Steph, we said, I've never worked on Node, but I know Adonis will be the way to go. Thank you. But yeah, all of you, okay, in the chat. So it's for people for YouTube and other people in the chat. Those guys, Thermo and Steffi, and Physics and Eric the Locoder, are people from Discord that I know personally, part of the community. And we talk a lot about that. And I'm evangelizing Adonis. So they know that because, again, they are on my audience already. It's not like new people coming onto the stream or coming on Twitter or whatever. Those are people that already know me, know Adonis because of me. And again, so it's the reach ends, you know, like it's not new people. And they know that Adonis is the way to go, or maybe something else, because I told them. But if I wasn't here, they will use something else, probably. They will be using Express, or I don't know, Koa or Happy or whatever. So yeah, that's the big issue. I have no solution for the moment. It was a very good discussion, and I believe I will end the stream with that. All right, so it's midnight here. Time to go to sleep. Thank you very much. It was a very good discussion. Maybe next time we can you know, like do a round table. Do we say that? Like, you know, like have multiple people coming to Discord and we can discuss about that, because that's good. That's good discussion to talk about the whole ecosystem, you know, and the issue we have inside the ecosystem. I believe that's good. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, Faribish. You have very good messages in the chat. Thank you very much. I'm going to end the stream, so this will be available on YouTube. All right. Thank you all for your time. I don't know what time it is, so I would say good night, maybe good day. I don't know. All right. And thank you very much again. And see you next time this week. Probably again in English. I like to do stream in English because again I reach more people, and I can still translate in French if there's people that needs that miss something. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good night. See you next time this week. Ciao.